welcome to the FanDuel Punch-Out. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Taking a look at FanDuel catcher through outfielder. Obviously, Chris Sale on the slate tonight, and he's your kind of lone cash game guy. I mean, there are some GPP options, which will be touched on the pitcher nailed down, but you referred to this one on the DK pod as the bottom of a slushy that doesn't have any flavor after you take Sale out.
Yeah, I think there might be a few sips with Samardzija or Gio or Rich Hill, and I don't mind Volquez either with his matchup, but yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
It is.
It's not rewarding, that's for sure.
No, it's not a Slurpee that you want to enjoy on a cool summer day. It's you know, you get through that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Looking at catcher here, and I mean, you and I kind of jumped right into agreement that we want to pay down. But guys like Lucroy, Buster Posey, Victor Martinez, all in good spots there at 3,300.
They're not too overpriced, so I'm okay with that value. 33 for Posey and 33 for Lucroy as well. So I'm okay with that. And then Victor Martinez, if he's at catcher eligible, so I'm okay with that too at 3,300. But mostly there's some really good deals down below. We were talking about Matt Wieters 2,100. And Yan Gomes 2,300. I mean, those are super deals.
Yeah, definitely. Both those guys we like a lot. I mean, Gomes going up against Nolasco. You got like that Wieters against Verlander at home.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only way I kind of pay for those catchers is if I'm doing a stack, because they all hit third, fourth in the lineup. So it's like they just fit in. Like I'm going to need them to complete that stack. So it works out kind of well.
Right, exactly. So I think roster construction is pretty easy from the catcher position tonight. But if you have Sale, I think we're looking at two of those lower options.
Yeah, definitely. Those are the guy that can free up some salary a little bit. And, both are in good spots. And I really like Gomes there against Nolasco, who's been really just beaten up. 351 WOBA allowed to righties since 2014. So certainly playable there.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I mean, I can't see really getting behind anyone. I think those five are actually pretty good. I mean, usually we don't have five catching options.
Yeah.
So first base tonight, and we should touch on that the Boston-Houston game. It doesn't look good as far as the rain goes, but obviously we'll just kind of lay it out there that the Boston bats are all certainly in play, just with how well they've been swinging the bat.
Right. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if anyone's been paying any attention to that pennant in your background, they've been mashing the ball from all ends of their order. I mean, Jackie Bradley Jr. has arguably been the best one, and he's batting ninth right now. So if that gives you a little insight to how they're doing right now. But yeah, I mean, if they do play, Ortiz, obviously a high-end option. And we'll get into the rest of the positions, but they're all high-end options right now,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, kind of the same guys we touched on DraftKings, Brandon Belt, Lucas Duda kind of in that play. But also, I mean, you got Encarnacion 3,800.
Yeah.
I think, does he take the cake for you? I mean, we were kind of in that tier, on DK, but.
Right. In terms of value, I like him the most. But again, I still think it's very dependent on how your lineup construction goes. So, I mean, maybe you could fit him into a wacky Chris Sale lineup on FanDuel. But I think he's a little easier to fit in on DraftKings unless you're doing a Toronto stack, in which case you need him in there. So that's kind of how I'm looking at him tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And once again, Miguel Cabrera, I mean, we just rarely see these prices so low for him, 3,600. I mean, he kind of just fits right into a Sale lineup. I don't really mind him. I know Encarnacion is just 200 more, but I mean, I think you're going to need to be a little bit nitpicky. I think that 200 could come into some savings tonight.
Yeah. Chris Carter's all right. I'm okay with Prince Fielder at 2,800. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for there.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to want to go much lower, and I don't think you really have to.
I think there's a lot of good options up at the top there.
Yeah, definitely. Second base and Daniel Murphy, 4,100. I think out of that top tier comes in as my favorite option against Tom Kohler. Murphy is just, is on fire. Does that even describe it, what he's doing this season?
It's burning my corneas, yes.
Just watching him, you got to put on sunglasses at this point. I mean, he's been somewhat overshadowed by what Bryce Harper's been doing this season, and Bryce Harper hasn't even been doing that much outside of hitting some home runs,
and getting walked 6 times a game,
and yelling at the umpire. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, Murphy's absolutely clubbing the ball. It's insane.
Yeah, I think so much pressure is taken off the guys behind Harper that it's like this is a great position for him, and I think it should continue to go this way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a problem. On DraftKings, we kind of talked about him being just more of a little national stack type play, but I don't have a problem with him as a one-off here.
Definitely.
And I think he's kind of a top option. I mean, Odor, in play, obviously in GPPs, Cano as well. I think Murphy's kind of my preferred guy there.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So, Gene Segura, 3,500, a little pricey for me, but I still think he's in a great spot leading off. It's hard for me to pair him up just because Kipnis is right there at 3,400, though.
Yeah, I'm kind of Kipnis over him tonight, and then Chase Utley at 2,900. Starlin Castro hit a homer last night. Obviously, he's going against Sale, so you're probably not touching him. But I did want to mention that he had a homer last night because I threw him out yesterday.
Oh yeah, a little self pat on the back.
But yeah, beyond that, I don't know. It's kind of tough to go lower at second here. I think you're kind of looking in that 3K range as the lowest you really want to go.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really get behind any of these guys. I mean, I know second base might be even the spot to punt. Cesar Hernandez still kind of a guy I don't mind, even against the lefty there. It's a switch hitter, so he could be a guy. I mean, if you need some deep salary relief, kind of implayable. I mean, just because he's hit 287 in his career against lefties. So, I mean, outside of that, it's not a lot.
Yeah.
So. Third base tonight, and this one a very sizable difference from Arenado to Donaldson, and Donaldson easily comes in as my top option. One, because it's price considered, and he's got a lefty in Texas.
Wow. I mean, that's 900 difference is huge on FanDuel here. So, I mean, I think I like Donaldson a little more to begin with tonight. So I think that's going to make my move on where I go in terms of stacks as well. Obviously, you want to get a core stack in there, but just with that, I mean, you have to have those two in there if you're doing it. So I'm definitely looking at Toronto here.
Yeah, definitely. Perez, 3.34 Woba out to right-hander since 2014. Obviously, if you've been around with us, we know what Donaldson does against lefties, and it's an ISO over 300, a Woba over 400 since 2014, so absolutely crushes. Once again, David Wright kind of comes in here, 3,700, a little bit under the radar, a little bit underpriced. Kind of that. I'm curious to see his ownership. I don't think it's going to be too high because he hasn't been tremendously great, but obviously any player in cores is still going to receive that bump in ownership.
It's going to be a little higher than DraftKings. I like his price more here. But I think with those guys, I think with the big difference between Machado and Donaldson, I'm okay with this. I'm down for this. I'm down for the Mets on this FanDuel slate.
And does that kind of put you? I mean, there's a lot of options at the hot corner there, and then it kind of puts them somewhat out of play. Like I feel like this is the position where I don't mind paying up for, or if I am going to pay up for a position, it's first base and third base.
Right. Yeah, that's where I'm looking tonight.
So if you want to be different, Adrian Beltre, sorry, Dickey there at home. I don't mind him. And going lower, I mean, I don't see a ton that I like. Aaron Hill would probably be the only one that I could see punting with. But that's kind of contrarian move, I think, completely punting at third base with those options.
Yeah, I mean, Maikel Franco's still sitting there at 2,700, but he's tough. He's tough to trust in that sort of matchup.
Yeah, and he's a guy who's hit righties better than he has lefties. But obviously, Fields Bark out there in Philly, it's friendly for right-handed power. So, I mean, with his price tag, I don't necessarily hate the move there.
Yeah.
Shortstop, and once again, I can't justify paying any of those top options. Obviously, Bogart should be off the table with Weather, but if Weather does start now, I think he's kind of my guy that I want tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, we've kind of been with this for the past few days, and it's worked out. So why not keep riding it? Pretty reasonable matchup for him, and you can't deny the Red Sox right now. Like, if someone's going to tell you not to play Red Sox right now, just don't listen to them.
I mean, only Mother Nature at this point can play the
Right.
Red Sox, and that's what could happen tonight. And, one guy who Cozart, I mean, he's
Yeah,
a little
much
pricier
different.
than I like.
Yeah. 33 on DraftKings versus 36 here is a pretty big difference. You usually see a pretty big dip on most sites. So
I think when
that's
Lindor's right there, I kind of prefer Lindor a little bit.
yeah.
I mean, arguably both are in great spots.
I'd prefer him in around the 3,100 range. So I mean, if you want to overpay for him, I think he's still a good play. But in terms of value, I don't like it as much.
Yeah, definitely. So we got Tulo right here.
No.
2,800. I mean, he's batting a $172 this season. He's looked awful since coming to Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, he got that homer the other day, but
Do you still think he's worth a look in tournaments? I mean,
as someone who's played a Toronto stack quite a bit this year, I'm having trouble putting him in at this point. I think I just like Michael Saunders instead. If you're gonna do that,
yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you. I mean, the way he's produced this season, it hasn't been great.
Are you going too low tonight? Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, I might.
That's okay.
I might have a share too. I might fall off the wagon, and I'll hop back and I'll go to the Sunday meeting and be like, "Hi, my name's Jason Gilbo. I rostered Tulo on Friday night against a lefty in Texas. Hi, Jason. I'll go through the whole thing there.
Yeah. There you go.
It's tough. I think multiple lineups tonight. I think he'll find his way into one or two of them. So, and cheaper guys. I mean, I would love to pay down at shortstop tonight, but there's not a lot of guys that I really am in love with.
No, not really.
So, I think you can kind of stay put in that 3K range. That should be about it there. Outfield, there are some pricey options up top. Cespedes once again comes in at top 5K, going up against John Gray in Coors. I like him a lot. I'm not necessarily sure he fits into my lineups, but definitely a guy you're going to need some shares of, though, as far as GPPs go, because he has potential to be the highest scoring hitter on the slate.
Yeah. Him and Wright, I'm okay with. Conforto. If you're going to do it all the way, because it could pay off big time. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, definitely. And one guy like Ryan Braun, 4,200 against the lefty there. I mean, we haven't talked a ton. We've talked about the Brewers bats. We haven't talked about how very average Friedrich is, and that's being generous. 407 wobble out to right-handers since 2014. Obviously, this is a guy who's coming out of Coors, but still Miller Park very friendly. A lot of right-handed bats in this Brewers team. I think they're an awesome stack on tonight's slate.
Yeah, I love them. Lucroy, Villar, load them up. I'm in. I'm probably going to make quite a few of those. So, yeah, Brewers, I'm in. Right around there, though, we mentioned Conforto. I'm okay with that. And then Carlos Gonzalez, I mean, Colorado, too. I'm in. I'm not afraid of Harvey and Coors, honestly.
What about Bautista right there, 4,100?
Yeah.
I mean, you like him against the lefty there?
Toronto's my number one stack tonight, so yeah, I'm definitely in on that.
So what you're saying is you're coming for Martin Perez.
Yeah, but not like Matt Cain or anything.
So it's more like you're just kind of you're putting up shop around the mountains area while you're scouting over.
Yeah. We'll send a few guys over and see if we can take them. Just like undercover. Not the full. We don't have to line up like Braveheart or anything. It's just gonna be sneak in, sneak out.
Yeah, you're putting Donaldson, Bautista, and Encarnacion under the radar. I see what you're saying. This 3,400 range, I can't get behind a lot of these guys. I like JD Martinez tonight against Chris Tillman. I think some of these guys are kind of overpriced for me in this range. Guys like Eaton, Desmond Bruce, Yelich. I mean, they all just seem somewhat overpriced. Michael Sanders is a guy who you've looked at a lot, 3,300, a decent value for him, even in this lineup spot.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I like him. I think he's the guy you're kind of looking at for a relatively cheap Toronto bat.
Yeah, definitely. And getting cheaper. I mean, it's kind of tough to sort through some of these value guys, but they are there. I The one time, I mean, the Rays have some cheap guys like Geyer and Pierce, but obviously
Mhm.
Rich Hill's been very tough this season. Even though those two mash lefties, if you wanted to be different in GPPs, I mean, you could look at it. But the way Hill's missing bats, it's kind of tough.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about putting bats up against Rich Hill. But I mean, in tournaments, yeah, I'm okay. I mean, it's not like he's Arietta or anything. So I think he can get beat up there. Melky Cabrera is someone I'm looking at. He's always in the top of their lineup and batting fifth or something like that. I'm okay with that against Severino.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there are some other guys. Obviously, I expect guys like Matt Holliday and Alex Gordon to have a little bit higher ownership tonight, just because they're coming off really strong games.
Hmm.
Adam Jones, I'm still not afraid of the price tag at 4,600 against Verlander.
Yeah, him and Rickard. I mean, I'm not saying Orioles is something you should dive back into tonight because it's not a perfect matchup, but I'm kind of looking at that as maybe you go back to it tonight, and there's better odds of it hitting than you'd think. So as sort of a contrarian stack, I'm okay with the Orioles.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And really, I think outfield's a spot you can pay up for. Yeah, obviously, it's kind of tough with Sale, but I mean, there are some bats down there like Holiday that you can fit in and feel comfortable
Puig
about.
again, it's like it's gonna hit soon at some point. He's not gonna just do this all season. He's a good player, so this will turn around, and I'm pretty confident in throwing him in here as a punt play.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, One guy, I've been burned by him so many times before, but Billy Hamilton, 2,800.
I know. I look.
He's got a great matchup against Hellickson. I mean, if this guy can get on base, obviously he's got that huge stolen base upside. I mean, hit second in the order. I mean, I definitely don't hate that at all.
Don't hate it, and you love the stolen base upside, but yeah, no, okay, I can't deny it at 2,800. If you bumped up to three though, gets in that 3K range, I'm like, all right, Billy Hamilton, that's
Yeah,
enough.
take a seat, sir. That's going to wrap things up here at the FanDuel Punch Out. Be sure to check out DaveFantasyCafe.com for all our great tools and content.